implementation experiences for various domains like oil and gas industry, electronics industry, manufacturing, and padlock industries, and also medical equipment industry. So I have my experiences range from Demantra demand management implementations, RTS and OP implementations, and the forecasting experiences. Uh, so I have regarding the trainings, I have taken like a couple of batches, like around 9 to 10 batches of training by now, and um, so that's all about me. So I wish to know about you guys. Um, what is your experience, level of experience, Oracle experience, if any, and if you guys have any, um, and what is your expectation from the training? Okay, so we can start with Firoz, and then we'll start with Bhaskar, and then we'll move to Avinash. Okay, so Firoz.
Thanks, Kumar. Actually, I am a Hyperion implementation specialist in my company. Currently, I'm working in Hyperion planning and Hyperion forecasting and SPS multidimensional database technology only. So I have almost 5 years of experience. So I actually recently we got one project. So these guys are implementing, but no one is there in my company. So actually, I told my management I will learn this technology, and so I can handle the project, something like that. So that time they said okay, but they're not quite confident because they wanted to. They don't know what level of expertise I'm going to learn, something like that they said. So I'll told them, so let me see how difficult this technology or something. So I was searching for the like trainers, so I got Santosh number and I called him. So that is my background, and yeah, that's it.
Any specific expectations from the training?
My expectation is I just need some in and out, like some, like if you have any training like installations and configuration documentation, that will be helpful to me. After that, I need how to implement end-to-end Demantra planning implementation and
There is an installation guide which is available online.
okay,
Okay, for
yeah,
Dimantra. So there is an
okay,
installation guide is available from Oracle for Dimantra online. Okay.
okay. From your end, I need just a training like for example, you give the class. After that, we need to practice, right? So right now, I don't have any test environment in my company. So if you have any test
Mm,
environment, that will be the added advantage. That's what I'm.
yeah, we have an instance. So
Okay,
we'll be sharing the remote desktop credentials with you, and you can access the instance on that.
okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no specific topics or anything like you have any expectation on, right? So we'll go
Right now, I
any
don't have a
additional
clear
things.
picture on this. So
Okay.
how, like which module also we are using? I think we are using a demand management only. We are using in current company. So
Okay.
I think they are planning to use one more thing for sales. Right? One more
Yeah,
module, sales,
sales and
sales module.
operation planning.
Correct, sales and operation module. So they are using for another like one more project. So if I have these two technologies in hand, so I don't know. You just go ahead with your schedule.
Hmm.
So based on that, I'll if I need, I'll ask you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on to Bhaskaran.
Hi, hi everyone, Bhaskaran here, and I have worked in Oracle ECM functional for close to about 10 plus years. Okay, and the reason I am interested in Demantra is because of late just planning is not effective in the entire supply chain domain. It needs to be more effective planning, and for which the forecast is the main driver, and the companies do not want to do a wrong planning. So Demantra is the key tool which helps in terms of the effective planning for an organization in the supply chain domain. So I'm interested in learning Demantra. I think you have a couple of modules, like 5 modules in Demantra, and the most spoken is your demand management and sales and operation planning and trade planning, etc. I would, I think the curriculum does not cover the most of the modules except the demand management, and there is an introduction to
Yeah, these are the
sales
main
and operation
modules.
planning. Yeah.
These are the main
Mm-hmm.
modules. Rest of them, if you know these modules, you'll be able to work on other modules.
Okay. So
If
from
it's just
the
an additional layer of other modules, that's
okay,
all.
okay. So from the expectation perspective, so as an expert, I would have request you to guide me, like what are those modules that are actually widely practiced in the market, and call out the differentiation factors why the rest of the modules are not being widely used, and what are the key competitive products that we have, when compared to Demantra, and why would we recommend Demantra for a customer in case we are doing an implementation?
We'll cover
And
that part in the demo.
yeah,
Okay.
and also my expectation is, again, we need your help in doing a local installation of the mantra, which I have been requesting. So that's the expectation is up now. And going forward throughout during the class session, I hope you would spend enough time and giving us the space to grasp and digest the subjects, because it's going to be an altogether new subject for me. So I
Mm-hmm.
hope you will have the patience and time for that.
Yeah.
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 So that's expectation as of now, Kumar.
Okay. Avinash.
Hi Kumar and hi
Hi.
guys. So this is Avinash and I have about 7 odd years of experience and I did my MBA in supply chain management and I'm certified CPI guide. And coming to the current work environment, I work for Qualcomm and I'm working as working on rapid response application, and I'm taking care of the demand planning section from India. We have 2 units, one in US San Diego, and then we have been coming up with the new IT center for the past 3 years. So we have been developing it, and I'm taking care of their QCT chipset forecasting until recently. And of late, we have acquired one company, and
So you
then
have worked on Demantra?
no, rapid response. So they have a demand planning and sales and operations planning as well, the modules. And I was working on the demand planning section of that. So pretty much right from forecasting to prioritization and different sections of the demand management, I have been taking care of.
But
And
using a
we have
different tool.
different tool, yes. So,
Mm.
and the reason I've been thinking of getting into Dimantra space is we have a couple of acquisitions in the pipeline, and some of the companies are using Dimantra, and there's a thought trying to integrate the Dimantra solution into a rapid response, or completely get away with rapid response and move to Dimantra. So in the process, I wanted to get good hands-on on Dimantra as well.
Mm.
And coming to the expectations point of view, I'm looking at both the modules, both demand planning as well as sales and operations planning, so that I can just have a holistic view of the complete demand management, not just a module expertise.
Okay. Okay.
That's it.
So
Thank you,
that is
guys.
good. So that's good. So you have a forecasting and demand planning experience and also the sales and operations planning experience. So I think it will be easy for you to understand the concepts. Only thing is the configuration in Demantra view you will have to go
Yes.
through it.
Yes, and also
So
on and off, I would expect more on the functional understanding, like not just
yeah,
configuration.
yeah.
Apart from that, the functional importance of different task or subtask. That's what some of
Yeah,
the
yeah, we'll cover. If
integration
I
I'm
take
looking
up a
at.
topic, I'll take it in a holistic view. Okay.
Okay, thank
So business need and the how to configure it and what is the background around it. So we'll
you. Yes,
cover all of that.
essentially. Okay. And Kumar, a small
Hmm.
suggestion, like since you already have some semiconductor vertical experience, if you can relate to semiconductor on and off whenever it is applicable, that would be of good help for me.
Okay, I don't have semiconductor experience, but I had like I worked for Apple and Knowles, so these
Okay, Apple
companies.
is fine. That's a OEM, right?
mm,
So they are OEM. That should be good enough. No problem.
So
At
we
least if you
generally
can
deal
relate
with
it,
the
I can.
phone and laptop levels. We don't go up to the transformer and
Yeah, I
the
understand. Yeah, it's an OEM, so
semiconductor
you only
levels.
go into the laptop, the end
Yeah,
product level. That's fine.
yeah.
That should be.
Okay. So, so let me cover the contents of the training. So first of all, we have one demo environment, okay, which will be a remote desktop, and you will be given your credentials to log into the remote desktop and do some practice on that. I'll be showing, so each class of mine would be consisting of a theory session, the demo session, and the exercise, followed by the uh, exercise which will be given as a homework to you. So my expectation from you would be that you practice that exercise and you come back with your doubts in the next session. Secondly, every session of ours will be a recorded session. Okay, so every session of ours will be a recorded session, and I'll be sharing the recordings with you. And my expectation again would be with you that once you go back home, you will be going through the recordings. Okay, and typically the training would consist of, and then in the next class, I am in a habit that I refresh the concepts by asking you questions from the previous class. Um, the typical duration of the training will be around 30 hours, okay, which exceeds sometimes, but you have to bear at least for 30 hours. And the the session will consist of every day, ranging from time from 1 to 1.5 hours, okay, and it will typically goes up to 3 weeks. So we extend on weekends also. Um, on the weekends we try to extend a bit more so that we can cover it faster, and and we can take up more. We have more time to take up your questions and your exercise in the class if you're not able to do it at home. Okay. So the contents will consist of the modules. You are clear, right? So from modules perspective, it will be DM and RTS and OP, demand management, and real-time sales and operations planning. Okay. The contents will consist of the first session would be a demo session. It will be covering the demand planning concepts, why demand planning, okay, which will be like why demand planning, and how do we do demand planning, challenges, how you do it, and how Demantra helps in demand planning, okay, and other concepts about demand planning. Secondly, we see different modules in Demantra. Okay, and the difference between them. The third we will see is the um, Demantra and EBS integration overview. Then we will see the various glossary of Demantra. Okay, so what all the terminologies and different interfaces we have in Demantra. So we will see them. Then we will go through the worksheets, Collaborator Workbench, and worksheets. which is the user's end, where users will view the data. Okay, so this will be like how we can, what is it, what and how, what and why. We will see in that why we create the worksheets and what are worksheets, how we create them. Okay, so there are configurations. How do you configure them? So in this configuration we cover series, levels, then embedded worksheets, worksheet views, and then all the menu options in worksheets. Okay, audit trail, and all the other aspects related to the collaborator workbench and worksheets, and how to personalize the worksheets. Okay, the collaborator workbench. Then we will see series. Okay, in the business modeler, how we create them. Okay, we configure the series, then the server expressions, client expressions, and all the how to configure the series. So we'll see that series are basically nothing but the data points in the worksheet. So how you see the data in the worksheet. So the data you see in form of series. They are like columns in the tables where you see the data. Then we will see levels. Okay, how we in the business modeler, how to configure levels, the concepts of the levels, the usage of levels, the hierarchies of levels. We will see aggregation, disaggregation of data across levels. Then we will see the proportionality concept. Okay, and then we will see the methods. Methods are nothing but right-click options in Demantra. So we will see that also in Business Modeler, how we configure them, concept, okay, and their associations. Okay, then the concept will be for in the data model. Okay, so data model is nothing but how the data flows in Demantra. Okay, so in importing data into Demantra, we will see that. Then we will see integration interface. How the data moves into Demantra and goes out of the Demantra. So data model you use for the main data, and integration interface used for the secondary data for importing and exporting the data to and from Demantra. Okay, then we will see the workflows. So workflows are like the batch jobs in Demantra, how you run the batch jobs. Okay, so we will go through the workflow manager, how to create workflow, how to schedule them, and how to start them. Okay, so we will see all this. Then we will see the technical aspect of Demantra. So Demantra tables and APIs. Okay. So we have MDP matrix table, sales data table, and all the key tables in the staging tables and level tables in Demantra. We will cover all of them. Then we will cover the forecasting process in Demantra. What is the concept and how the process goes of forecasting in Demantra. Okay, so then we will see analytical engine. Engine is the backbone of Demantra, which is run and generates the forecast. So how do we run the concept of the engine run and all that thing? We will cover the forecast tree. Okay, so its configuration and concept. Okay, and how does it work? So we'll cover that. Then we will see the NPI process in Demantra. That is new product introduction Demantra. So the interface, how it works, and how it creates the NPI and why NPI is needed. So we will cover that. Then we will take the implementation steps. Okay. We will cover one session on implementation steps, how we implement a fresh Demantra. We will take some interview questions. Okay, and then we will also cover user management, how the users are created and user groups. So all that thing we will cover, and the access control for users. So we will cover that. Then we will see, and if you have any instance, any local installations, then you need to do that. Then Santosh can take some DBA's help and help you with the installation, but that will be something additional that he will do because we don't have any full-time DBAs. So he will just take your help, take some DBA's help, ask for his time, and help you for installing it. And once if it is installed, or you can also like try with some of your office DBAs to install Demantra on your machines, and I can help you in configuring them. Okay. So these will be the contents of the training, which will be pretty much spread across 30 hours, 30 to 35 hours, and the modules that we'll be covering will be DM and RTS and OP. So anything else you need? Any other expectations you have from the contents? Okay, so I presume that you guys are okay with the contents, and I'll just go ahead with the demo. Okay, so we have module 1, which is overview of Demantra. We'll cover what is demand planning first of all. So what is demand planning? So planning future demand, how much sales we expect in future based upon the sales in the past. We call this as demand planning. Okay, so planning for future demand scenarios based upon the future, we estimate the future demand based on the market conditions and the collaborative planning process involving internal and external participants. So what is collaborative planning? So collaborative planning is where all the users, the sales people, marketing people, all the stakeholders are on the same page. So all the planning stakeholders will be on the same page and they share the information. They have a common source of information that is, and we take the inputs from all of them in that common page, and a consensus is reached. So where there's a discussion happens and a final number will be reached, because you will have sales people who will have the sales forecast, marketing people will have their own forecast, then manufacturing people, the production people will have their own forecast. So all these people have to reach up to a common goal, a common number. Okay, so that they all reach up to one common goal and the whole organization moves to achieve that goal. So that is so for that you have to maintain one single source of information, one page where everybody will come, give their inputs, and it is visible to everybody else, so that they are all the flow of information is consistent across the organization, across different stakeholders. So that process is called as collaborative planning. So Demantra gives you a view of collaborative planning in the shape of worksheets. Okay, so we do the future demand planning based upon the market conditions and involving all the participants using collaborative planning. So a crucial function for improving the operational plans. So what is the use of demand planning? So first of all, if you have a common goal, excuse me. So if you have a common goal, you can have the optimal resource allocations then. So you know, okay, I need to produce, so manufacturing people knows that this much needs to be produced. So they can allocate their resources properly so that they are able to achieve that number. Same way, sales people knows that how much the manufacturing people will be producing and how much they can sell. So that's that much only they will commit. So their guys will be committing the same thing to the clients, and the marketing people will advertise accordingly as per the production the production capacity. Okay, so you will have an optimal resource allocations if you have a proper well-defined plan using demand planning. Then you have reduced inventory levels. So this is very important these days because the inventory cost is what which is reducing a lot of profits these days. So if you are able to reduce the inventory cost, then your the organization is able to enhance profits a big time. So for that, if you have proper forecast that this much is going to be forecasted and this much I plan to move, then your inventory will be reduced because there would be some perishable quantities which are lying with you in the stores. So if you are which is not being sold because there is less demand and you have over forecast, you have the extra stuff in the with you, so you will have less so it is not being sold, it is just lying. So it is not only just consuming your space, but it is also uh, that may come up with an expiry date, so it may get expired after some time and you have to just discard it. Okay, so that will be an additional loss. So you will have, so if you have proper forecast in place and proper demand planning, then you will have reduced inventory levels. Then improved customer satisfaction. So if you're able to improve the customer, if you're able and supply them the good quality stuff on time, then your customer will be very satisfied. Okay, and also regarding the under forecasting, so you might be forecasting less, and if you're not forecasting well, you're producing less than the stuff. So we saw if you produce high, then you will have more inventories and they have its own problems, the cost issues are there. But if you're producing less, then you're selling less. So it's not only reducing your profits because you're selling less, but also the clients will move to different vendors and will and to your competitors, and your competitors will be an edge over you. Okay, now what is demand planning and how is it done? So demand planning compares and consolidates disparate forecasts. There are different types of forecasts like sales forecast, marketing forecast, manufacturing forecast. So all these people will come in here, will put in their numbers and will reach up to a consensus. Okay, that okay, this is the final value that we'll be producing. So you compare these different types of forecasts, okay, which are just disparate forecasts, and you reach up to a common goal, which is called as a consensus forecast. And you have different units and different types of measures to measure different types of items. So your different people might be forecasting in different units. Okay, so you have flexibility to view all of these under a common unit in common worksheet. Okay, so the Demantra can convert it into into one common unit, and in which you are you know you're most used to, and then uh, you can view the data in under common units. then it improves the forecast accuracy. So once you the engine runs, you can tune the engine to give you more accurate forecast. Okay, so it can give you more accurate forecast in and you can tune the forecast also in Demantra. So it will help you in improving the forecast accuracy over the period of time. Okay, so you can judge the forecast at various intervals, and you can improve the forecast. Then you have exception management. So exception management includes you can view the data in multi dimensions. You can view the data at country level in Demantra. You can view it at state level. You can view at site level. Okay, you can view it at the region level. You can view at geography level. So at various levels, it can just show you the data by summing it up or drilling it down. So you can have drill down also, and you can roll up also the data in Demantra. So at various levels, you can view the data. Then, and you can override the data also at various levels, and the proportions of it will be reflected at the lower levels. Then user defined exceptions. So if there are any exceptional situations like you are over forecasting or under forecasting sometimes, then those exceptions can be listed down and a notification can be sent to the users. Okay. Now, why is demand planning difficult? So what are the challenges in demand planning? So these days you have very short product life cycles, right? Like you have the products which are sold just for 3 months or for 4 months or 2 months. Like if I take the example of MI Xiaomi phones, then they just launch it, and just after 2-3 months they launch a new product and discard the old product. So these products have very shorter life cycles these days, and that's why excuse me, I just not keeping my throat well. So you have shorter product life cycles. So because of that, you don't have enough data, enough historical information on which you can base upon your forecast. Okay, then you have some evolving market conditions. So the market conditions keep on changing, right? Like there is a recession in China, so your market in India gets affected. There is some recession in Europe, then in India the markets get affected. There is some bomb blast in some city, so then it will may cause some reduction in sales of some product here, or some. So these evolving market conditions. So market conditions change every day. Okay, so and then we have global markets. So the effect of one place um, will affect the other place. Okay, so you have global the changes, so the variations in the demands are huge these days. Okay, because of the we are into a global markets. Then you have multiple sales channels, so you have so many sales channels, couriers, ship, there are so many shipment methods that you have to sell your products. Then you have advertisements, and you have online shopping. You can use couriers, you can order on telephones, you can go and buy directly to the store. So there are so many sales channels these days that can enhance or reduce your sales. Information gathering tools these days that you can that can affect your demand. People had to buy a laptop, they would be buying a laptop from their local markets. But nowadays you have so many, uh, because say if they're using HP products, then those people keep on used to use HP products only. But nowadays you can compare HP products with other products, and you can and you have online tools to you know, you to compare the different products and which is beneficial. You have rating system, reviews, online reviews. So there are so many source of informations that can affect your demand. Then you have demand distortions also. So you might not be recording your history well. Okay, like sometimes you may not be recording your history, or sometimes you have some customized orders. So that will inflate your demand for some time, but that may not be a continuous trend. Okay, so these demand distortions are there. So these all reasons make demand planning really difficult. Any questions so far? No. Okay. Next
One
is
second, so come on, one
yeah.
second. Okay, so there are certain terminologies which I saw, like your sales channels,
Mhm.
which you are saying is basically your supply chain, or your logistics through which the end product is being delivered to the customer. So you may
Mhm.
want to even highlight us on those terminologies for Demantra, because we have a separate an understanding on these terminologies also. Because so when you say multiple sales channels, do you mean that it's only the medium through which it is delivered to the customer, like you said, courier?
Hmm.
In a typical SCM terminology, we'll call them as a logistics partners, or whatever it is. So do you exactly mean sales channel means only the guy who does the end
Um,
delivery for you, or
yeah,
how
I
is it?
mean, for different clients may use these terms as per their needs. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
the sales channels that I refer to here is basically different ways, different modes of selling products. Okay, so you have different modes
Okay.
of selling products. But in some cases, the sales channels could be the different mediums based upon the physical state of the products. You might be
Okay.
selling them through different ways. Like liquid products would be sold in a different way than a solid product.
So
Okay.
it's definitely not an interface or a medium where the order is being booked.
No, it's not
Okay.
the how the order is being booked. It is like the mode, the way
Mm-hmm.
you are selling it. Okay.
Okay.
So this is not a you won't use it as this is not a Demantra specific term. Okay. So this is an SCM specific term. Does it answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Then you have Demantra architecture. So a typical Demantra architecture will have a server, okay, which we call as an application server, and this server interacts with different components. So the app server consists of the web server and the J2EE server. So the Demantra is a Java-based application. The forms that you see, the worksheets that open, they are on Java. Excuse me. Which need the J2EE server to run. Okay, so you should have a Java installed on your machine if you want to open the worksheets, and there should be a web server installed, which can be a Tomcat server or WebLogic server or Oracle Enterprise server. Okay, so on which these applications will run. Then there is a database server where the data is stored. So this app server is going to pick up the data from the database server and will be showing that to the client on the browser. So users will see the data on the browser. So there will be a web link for Demantra. User will just put that web link on the Internet Explorer or Firefox, which is a browser, and then that web link will connect to this application server, and this application server will in turn connect to the database server and show you the data over the worksheets. And to run the worksheets, they would need the J2E application server as well. Okay. Then the other and then the engine also needs the application server to run. So engine will run on the server, and engine will also connect to the database to take the history, because history will be stored in the database. So the analytical engine will take the history from the database, generate the forecast using application server, and then will save back the forecast to the database server. Okay. Then you will have some administrative utilities which you will restrict the access on database servers. So for the access controls, you would be using the administrative utilities, and some other utilities which will be used for configuration, like business modeler, demand planning interface. Okay, so these interfaces would be used to which will be using the database server, and which will be used by the implementers to configure the system. So is this architecture clear to you? And you do any change to the administrative utilities, then you may need to bounce the server, bounce the application server, so that the cache in the server gets refreshed, and your browser is able to see the latest changes that you have done. Okay.
So but you don't need to do a DB bounce here, is it? Because
No, not the
usually,
database server bounce. You just need to do an app server bounce.
okay.
Hi Kumar,
Yeah.
I have a question. So
This is
the
who is
application
this?
server,
Avinash?
this is Avinash, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
So the application server is hosted on the local system, or can be hosted in the
No, that will be in production environments. You will have it on a remote desktop on some server, and you will be accessing that remote desktop from your system. Here also we have a remote desktop where this is installed, but on the same machine you will be accessing the Demantra, as well as the front end, as well as the app server, as well as the
data.
backend utilities. Okay,
Okay.
that's a local installation. You have a production environments will have a central installation, which will wherein you will be having the installation on some machine, and you can access the Demantra from your own machines, from your local machines. Okay,
Kumar, I
but
have one question.
If I
but
have to
for the
install on my local system, can I have all the three components on my local system and then?
yes, that's a local installation.
Okay, thank you.
So, Kumar, typically, how do you do a sizing for a demand translation? Is it based on the number of licenses, or is it on the volumes of data? How do you do the sizing?
Definitely, the volume of data has to be taken care of,
Mm-hmm.
and the database should be able to handle your volume of data. If you're using the 11G database, then you
Mm-hmm.
cannot extend data in millions of records. Okay, in several millions or billions of records, you cannot
Mm-hmm.
uh, take the data up to that level. For that, you may need some additional databases, some Exadata or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, that won't be needed. So
Okay.
you will have some around uh, 10. Generally, records do not exceed 10 millions or something like that. Okay, so it should be okay. But and also the engine needs to be a distributed server. Okay, if your
Mm-hmm.
data volume is very high, then you need to have a distributed engine, so that its performance, because the performance reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Distributed
Very good.
environment means how you are going to distribute the application here.
There'll be basically you will have one CPU, and so the engine will distribute the data and run the engine parallelly for them. Okay, like if you have 1 million records in your 4 engines, then 25,000 uh, or 250,000 records, or 250,000 records will be processed by one engine, by one segment of engine. 250,000 records will be um, processed by another engine, like that. It will
Got
distribute the data. Okay.
here database server, you mentioned Demantra database and Demantra database services, right? So Demantra database, in the sense, it's like it will pull the data from Oracle EBS or some databases, RDBMS. After that, it will hold all the data in Demantra database. Is that me? Is that what you are telling here?
There is only one database. Okay, that's the Demantra database. It is just going to get the data and it will be showing you the data.
Okay, that means we have to pull the data from EBS, then it is loaded to that Demantra database.
Yeah.
Oh.
EBS or any other transaction system if you have, you will be loading the data from there into the Demantra database.
Got it, got it.
Any other questions? Firoz?
No, I'm done.
Oh, you were Firoz. Okay. Then key capabilities of Demantra. So Demantra is used for demand analysis. So you get the history, you generate the forecast, and you analyze the forecast based upon the history. Then you have advanced forecasting. So you can use better forecasting capabilities. You can add it to the Demantra by buying an AFTM license. We'll discuss it. And then collaborative planning, where all the stakeholders come on the same page and can view the data. So these are the key capabilities of Demantra. Then other parts of implementation, you have workflows, which are used for running the batch jobs. Okay, so any jobs that you need to run in the backend for the data processing, so you run the workflows for that. You have integration interfaces to load the data, to import and export the data to and from Demantra. And then you have database procedures and SQLs and packages that will be run in order to process the data. Then different modules of Demantra. Okay, so you have demand management module, advanced forecasting and demand modeling module, real-time sales and operations planning, trade promotions optimization, predictive trade planning, and DSM, deduction and settlement management. So demand management is used for forecasting. Okay, so you have a history and you generate the forecast based upon the history. The engine is run. Advanced forecasting module AFDM is used for better forecasting, more accurate forecasting. So in the difference between the two is that there are like 15 models, 15 calculation methods which Demantra uses for generating the forecast. But in AFDM, Oracle has restricted the access for 6 advanced models. Okay, so Demantra DM has access to only 9 models, while rest of the 6 have been restricted for AFDM. So your client needs to buy an AFDM license for that in order to use those 6 other advanced models. Okay, so that's the only difference. Configuration wise and all, there is no difference. And there are some more features which have been added into AFDM for better forecasting. You can create more causal factors. You can use nodal tuning in AFDM, which you cannot use in demand management. So basically, if you are really concentrating on the forecast and more accuracy of the forecast, then you should buy a AFDM license, which is to be bought separately from Oracle. And so that's the difference between these two modules. Real-time sales and operations planning is used for viewing the different ASCP plans. So it is basically used for generating the various plans. So it will be considering the forecast along with the supplies. So various supplies and demands and the capacity constraints are viewed over one screen. Okay, so you bring in the data from ASCP. Okay, and there is ASCP plans are there. So there the planning engine runs and generate the plans, which is just a pegging report is created. So you have different supplies and demands on the same page. So you bring all the supplies from AFDM and you will bring the forecast from the demand management into RTS and OP, and you will view them on the same page. And then the higher management can compare different plans and can take a decision that this is the accurate plan and we'll go with this plan. So they will freeze that plan and that plan will be taken forward with the whole of the organization. So that's the purpose of RTSNOP. Okay. Then you have trade promotion, predictive trade planning, and trade promotion optimization. These two modules are basically one only. They are used together. This is used like if your organization doing any promotions, like um, there is a offer which is given 1+1 offer, or 20% discount, or 50% discount, or any of the such type of promotion your company is doing, or any they are putting any banners or any display screens, TV screens, they're doing advertisements. So all those promotions are liable to bring some lift to the forecast. Like you expect that hundreds, you are expecting the item to be sold 100, but if you're doing any promotion, then you expect that it will be selling 120. So that 20 is the lift over the forecast, right? So that additional additional forecast that will be created is called as a lift, and to calculate that lift we use trade promotion planning, because anyways if you're selling regularly they expect that this much will be sold in future also, but if I do any promotion then I can increase that number, right? So that there will be a lift in the forecast if I am running any promotions. So for those you will use predictive trade planning and trade promotion optimization. Then deductions in settlement management. These are also related with promotions, because when you do a lot of promotions, then you may do some promotions at the distributor levels also. Like you may, if you give them, you may give them the products in advance, okay, without charging them. That you can sell it, and whatever you will sell, based upon that I will take the amount from you, right? So as a company, you may do such type of um, uh, settlements with your distributors. So you will have some billing. The invoice for it will be generated by the end of the month, which you will be giving to the client, that this much we gave you and this much you owe us. So for that you use deductions and settlement management. Okay, so generally these settlements are associated with promotions, and one settlement will be associated with one promotion. So it will be like that. So these are various modules of Demantra. So any questions on these? So as a part of this training, we'll be covering DM and RTS and OP. Okay. So no questions.
Okay, Kumar, I have a question.
Hmm.
I have a question. Okay, so demand management, you forecast the demand, okay, which is again
Hmm.
originated from your source of sales. And what exactly are we doing with the real-time sales and operations planning? Like, so is it we are you know we are looking at the real-time sales, and then what exactly we are doing here? So what is the key difference between the demand management and RTS here?
See, demand management is only concerned with forecasting. So you don't
Okay.
consider supplies or anything. Just take the history, you generate the
Mm-hmm.
forecast based upon the history. So
Okay.
this basically sales and the forecast. But in
Okay.
real-time sales and operations planning, you are going to take the supplies also, like what is your on hand, what is your net need, what is your production capacity, and what is your
Mm-hmm.
forecast. So you can compare them. So maybe it says that I can produce only this much, but your forecast says no, you should produce this much. So there
Okay.
will be a difference, right? Difference between the two, that this much I can produce and this much I'm forecasting. So how can I meet that additional requirement of forecast? So that is called as the unmet demand. So you will um, try to meet that unmet demand. So all these numbers will come on the same page. See, and you can compare these numbers with different plans, and then your higher management can make the decisions that okay, we can go with this plan. So this much will be my final forecast, this much will be my supply, and this much will be my production, and this will be and I'm going to meet this demand over this much period of time. So all those
Okay.
things are done in the RTS and OP.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so it's RTS and OP is more of a decision making tool. than any any calculation tool or any suggestion tool.
So it's
Okay.
basically, if I have to put it, you're doing a capacity planning considering your suppliers or contract manufacturers and
Sort of. So
into
it is just planning, not forecasting.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
So it's just planning. So planning is what? Demand equals supply. That is what you're going to do. All the
Okay.
demands, all the supplies will be on the same page, and along with the constraints, of course, and you will make a decision that how will your demand should look like, how will your supply should look like, and the target should be to meet the demand and supply.
Okay.
Hey,
So
Kumar.
other thing, sorry, the other thing
Sorry, go ahead.
you're referring to the number, the licensing part and the AFDM.
AFDM.
So, by default, you said you will come with these six modules, and
No,
on
we'll come with 9 modules by default.
nine.
6 modules
Okay.
will be restricted.
Among these nine.
No, among 15,
Okay. Okay.
among 15,
Okay.
9 will be you will have access in DM, and for rest of
Mm-hmm.
the 6, you will need a license separately for AFDM license.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Yes, there was somebody else also.
Yeah, Kumar, this is Avinash.
Hmm. Hmm.
So when you say SNOP, even the allocation, like where you try to peg the supply and the demand, that happens in the SNOP in Demantra.
Allocation. What do you mean by allocation?
Like I have a set supply and different sats are in my case different levels of the bomb, and I try to peg the supply against the demand order, specific demand order, like which could be firm or else against the
Or
firm order.
demand
So
org, you are saying.
yes, at a demand order. Okay, so
Yeah, yeah.
that
So you view
pegging
the
happens in
data.
SNOP.
Basically, in RTSONP, you view the data at the item and org level only.
Okay,
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 and or the higher levels of the org.
okay,
Okay, like you may have business unit or the so at those levels also you can view the data.
okay. So
And if you want to view it at a higher level of item, that also you can view.
okay.
Okay. Anything else? No? So
That's it.
I can proceed.
No.
Then you have Demantra integration. So Demantra connects with the various other modules. So you have demand management, which will generate the forecast, and the forecast will go to RTS and OP, and this can connect to the TPO, trade promotion, predictive trade planning, promotion optimization, or DSM. Okay, then DM can also and the data will in this Demantra will flow from EBS or JDE or CBIL, whichever is your transaction system. You can use that, and you have other VCP modules like ASCP or Globe GP, GOP or CP or PS. So these can also connect with Demantra, and you can share the data between them. Then how the data flows in from the EBS. So all the collection data, the items, orgs, calendars, users, history, units of major currencies, all that is stored in the transaction system like EBS. The data from EBS, all this data moves to demand management, and from demand management, the data will go to the supply chain planning module. So you like ASCP. So you will move the forecast to the ASCP and the data and so if you're using RTS and OP module, then from ASCP the data will move back to the Demantra also. But here they're talking only about demand management. Okay. Then if you're using the JD Advanced, then your all the transaction data will move to the demand management, and the forecast also moves to JDE. And then the forecast will move from the JDE to the ASCP or any other supply chain planning modules. Okay. So this is the whole big picture of the integration. What all data flows from where. Then if you are using EBS, then at the database level, your EBS, so there can be two types of architecture. One is that your VCP. VCP we mean value chain planning, which consists of ASCP and Demantra. Okay, in terms of Oracle. So they are all, these both are on the same database, and the EBS can also be on the same database. Okay, so then they have a single database, but you can have a distributed system also where EBS, because the transaction system will be a huge system because it has to deal with the huge volumes of data. So EBS can be on a different database, and ASCP and Demantra can be on one common database, and then you can connect between the two databases using a DB link. Okay, so you can have this distributed architecture also, or you can have a single instance architecture where EBS, VCP, and ASCP can be on the same database. Then you don't need DB links here. Okay. Then you have the glossary. So any questions so far? No. Um, so you have different components in Demantra. So what all different components you have? So you have Collaborator Workbench, Business Modeler, Workflow Manager, and Engine Administrator. So what is a Collaborator Workbench? Collaborator Workbench is a user's end. Okay, let me just show it to you over the instance. So in the start menu, you will see this Oracle Demantra spectrum, and you have different components listed here. Okay, so firstly you have the server. So web server should be up, so you will stop the server and you will start the server. Okay, so the server should be up in order to work. Let me just start the server. So once the server is so then you have um, Collaborator Workbench. Let it start first. Then I'll show you the Collaborator Workbench. So Collaborator Workbench is a front end, which is the user's end, where users will see the data. Users will have their own logins. They will log in into the Collaborator Workbench. They can view the worksheets, which will show them the data, or they can modify the data. They can enter their own numbers also from the Collaborator Workbench. Okay, so it is up. So server started in 30577 milliseconds, and then you will go to Collaborator Workbench. So this will be open on a web browser. You are going to connect from, the users will connect from their IDs. I'm connecting from the admin ID. So users can, if there are any notifications to the users, user can see the notifications. Users can see who all are online, who all other users are online. And so this is a worksheet. So users view the data on the worksheet. It is loading the data. Let me open it on a different browser.
So, Kumar, do you also have this Dimantra solutions on cloud, or is it yet to be launched?
No, it is yet to be launched.
Okay.
I think they're coming up with it.
Okay.
So meanwhile, I just show you the other modules. Okay. Um, you have then business modeler, which is the implementer's end. So you do the basic backend configurations from business modeler. Okay, so only administrator or the implementer should be given access to this. Only they can access this. So from here you configure series levels and all these things. Like if you talk about series, then it will be connected from here. You can create new users from here. Okay, and so this is the business modeler, which is the implementer's end. So implementer will come and implement it here, or the support guys can come and do some changes if they want. And any changes done to that, then you need to bounce the server again. Okay, so that the server, so it is an administrative utility basically. So the server needs to be bounced so that the cache is refreshed. Then you have workflow manager. I'll show it to you later. Okay, this is taking time and it's got struck also. Then you have workflow manager. So workflow manager is used for running the batch jobs. Okay. So this is the workflow manager. So these are all the batch jobs. You can configure the batch jobs. You can do changes in the batch jobs also, and you can start them. You can schedule them. Okay, you can edit them. So these are some of the modules. So Collaborator Workbench is the user's interface, which are worksheets and tasks. So tasks and notifications, like I showed you that there are these tasks. So you get to see these tasks, okay, which are user notifications, and you have below these worksheets, so which lists all the worksheets that you can see, and you can see who is online also, and you can click on these worksheets, then worksheet will open, okay, and it will show you the data.
Kumar, I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever the user wants to update their forecast number or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
so always they have to log into the workbench.
Yeah, they have to log into the workbench, into the worksheet, and they will log into that specific worksheet where they have to update the forecast.
Okay, okay. They cannot connect from Excel sheet directly, like in Hyperion we have like add-ins. So it will connect directly to the Hyperion server to the from worksheet itself, like Excel sheet itself. So they can
No, not
do
with the.
any kind of.
You can configure that, but that's not recommended. Okay,
Okay, okay,
so you can create an Excel, you can create an Excel database connection with your Demantra database like that, and then you can apply the overrides from the directly to the database using the Excel, right?
correct.
That's it, yeah. But here you have additional feature added up in the 12.2 module version of Demantra, that you can just put the data in an Excel and you can directly load it into the worksheet also.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, but the most recommended way would be to directly log in into the worksheet, because then also they have to anyways log in into the worksheet. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
log into the worksheet and apply the forecast from the worksheet. That is the most recommended way, and that only should be followed.
But each and every user, we have to give remote desktop connect access.
No, no, no. This is front end, right? So this front end they can access from their own machines. In
Okay,
production
but
environment, it will be a web application. It will be a web application, right?
correct.
So they have this login link. They can log in
Mhm.
into it from their own machines. If and they, of course, some settings would need to be done, like appropriate Java version should be there and all,
Correct.
and they should be they will connect with their own login IDs, and they can apply the forecasts.
Okay. What is the version currently running in Demantra? What is the version?
See, the latest versions in the market is 12.2.4.
Okay.
Okay. We are using in here 12.2.3, I think.
Okay.
Okay. But
Yeah.
they are almost same. Okay. So you have, so in business modeler, you have data model, level, series, all these configurations are done. So it's a configuration tool. So you will configure all of these things in business modeler, and once you do all these configurations, you need to bounce the server in order to reflect those changes in the Collaborator Workbench. Then you have Workflow Manager. This is just for launching the batch jobs. Only the administrator, generally support people should be given access to it, or the implementer should be given the access during the implementation. So they can launch the batch jobs from here. They can schedule them also. Then you have Engine Administrator. So Engine Administrator is used for running the Demantra engine. Okay, so you need to go to the Engine Administrator. Here you will just log in into the engine administrator. You will just give the password, and if the password is correct, then it will ask you can run the engine from here. You can click this button, it will start running the engine. Okay, so this is for running engine. So you can choose the batch or simulation mode, and it gives you some logging options. You can log the output of the forecast of the engine. So basically there's a log file maintained, and you can choose machines to run the engine. You have, if you're using a distributed engine. Okay, yeah, there was somebody, any questions?
Yeah, this analytical engine, if it is is it hosted on the database server, or is it on the application server, or if it is how
It
exactly
is
works?
it is on the application server. It uses
Okay,
both basically. So it
okay.
wants, for running, it needs the application server, but
Mm-hmm.
it need the history, which will fetch
Mm-hmm.
from the database server, and it will
Mm-hmm.
save the forecast in the database server. But for running, it needs the application server. So
So,
your application server should be up when if you're running the engine.
mm-hmm. Okay, so it's an integration to the application server and a DB server, and it interacts with these two. So if in
Mm.
case you are talking about a distributed engine,
Mm.
is there a need that you need to have a separate host for it, or is it good enough to have it on the same
No, no,
application
no. You
server?
you
So,
can use it on the same machine, but it's
okay.
just like branches of the same engine you will have. Okay, so you will have multiple CPU processes
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you mean by distributed engine, which will be processing your data parallelly.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay,
So you are allocating the CPU for this each of these
processor.
nodes is
Yeah.
what we
So
call
you
it,
will.
right?
So right now you are running one CPU process. You will have four CPU process if you are using four branches of the distributed engine.
Okay, okay. So
Okay.
another question I have is when and what reason or what is the need for running this engine? Don't you have a continuous engine functioning here, like how it works on a workflow background process for in Oracle, and what is the significance in
No,
this
it's
engine?
like this engine will run and it will generate the forecast on demand.
Okay,
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 so once you run the engine, it is going to generate the forecast.
all
That's all.
right,
So the one you are talking about is an application server which should keep running.
okay, okay.
Okay, that don't confuse it with the engine. So this engine is basically just to generate the forecast. It's like you have run a job which will generate a forecast.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you have some glossary, like what is a worksheet, series, levels, hierarchy, data model, forecast tree. So we'll see that. So this is the Collaborator Workbench, which I was trying to show you. So these are all worksheets which are listed. So user can bring in whichever worksheets. There could be hundreds of worksheets in your system, but a user might be using only 4 or 5 of them. So he can just bring them on. So these are quick links for those worksheets basically, which he uses frequently. Then if there are any notifications, they will come up in the tasks. Then who's online and dashboard, like for quick access to certain things, you can have dashboard. Then then you have worksheet. So this is how a worksheet looks like. Okay, so you can have a table-like structure. All these columns are called as series, which shows you the data, and users can view the data here, and users can modify the data also. Okay, so all the white series that you see, that means users can put in the data here, and all the grayed out series that you see, that means the users can view them only. Okay, then these are the level members for which you are seeing the data. So like if you're seeing for an item and the location on so and so date, so there's a time which shows you the date for which it is the data, and the data is shown here. Okay, so this is called as a member browser, where it shows all the levels. Okay, for which item, which country, or for which item, which state, the data you are seeing, so that it lists here. Then you have some menus above for worksheets for various things that you can do on the worksheet. You can see, view the same data in form of a graph also. Okay, then so these are the series I have spoken about. These are the data points where you see the data. Then you have levels. So levels are these are the levels. Okay, for what you see the data is the levels basically. So we'll cover these in details in their respective sessions. Then you have hierarchy. So hierarchy means a sequence of levels, like you can have a site, state, country, geography, area. So that will be that is called as a hierarchy. So it's a sequence of levels. It's called a hierarchy. Same way in items, you may have item, brand, segment, category, family. So like that you will have product hierarchy also. Then you have workflows. We have shown you the workflows. The methods are the right click options on the levels. So in the worksheet, if you right click on these levels, then there are some right click options available. Those are called as methods. So you can you can do some calculation on the fly from the worksheet and reflect in the worksheet those calculations by doing those right click options, or you can just view some data or modify some data using those methods. Okay, so that's all from my side for today. Any questions you guys have? Guys, any questions?
Good, come on.
Okay, so you can give your feedback to Santosh. Okay, so he can connect you, and so typically what time suits you for the sessions?
I think this timing should be fine with me, early morning.
Can we make it at 6 o'clock? On weekends, I can today I just connected a bit late, but will 6 o'clock in the morning be fine
Yeah, good with me.
for everybody?
Hello, Avinash. Are you there? Hey, Avinash.
I am okay. This is Firoz.
Yeah, it's Firoz, right? Okay. And Avinash, what about you? Hey, Avinash.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, Avinash.
Yeah, can you repeat? I just missed it. You were asking something, right? Kumar?
Yeah.
Hello.
So we are thinking to start the batch at morning 6 o'clock.
Okay.
It will
6
be,
to 7:30.
yeah, 6 or 7 or 7:30. Correct.
Okay. Uh, Probably it's from Monday, right?
Um, yeah,
Depends upon your conveniences.
Okay. That would be little early, Kumar. Uh, 6 to 7:30.
yeah. The problem is like even Kumar also leaves office around like 8 to 8:30.
Okay.
So that is the case actually.
Okay. Is there a possibility in the evening?
What time in the evening? Actually, evenings we generally have our official calls.
Okay. Yeah, I
So
think then I'll try to accommodate from 6 to 7, 7:30, right? Okay, fine. I'll just check with one of my friends who's also interested in joining, Manjunath. Probably he was the person who actually got in contact with you, right? Rudra?
Yeah, correct.
Rudra?
He is supposed to join actually.
Yeah, he's traveling currently, so he asked me he said he sent me the contact details and he asked me to attend the demo session.
Okay.
So probably I'll just check with him. I think maybe 6:30 that should be okay. I'll just reconfirm
Uh,
because I stay a little far off from my office, so by the time
okay,
if it
okay.
is around
So
around
Kumar, can we
7:30, then it will
manage
be
like
fine.
6:30?
actually, what happens is these sessions generally tend to become long because there are three people, so they will have their questions, and these sessions generally get extended by 8:30 up to 8:30 also sometimes 8:30 9 o'clock. So then it becomes a problem for me to go to office.
Okay.
Okay, okay,
So
okay.
So
Oh,
if
you
we
mean to
start
say
at
like,
6,
see,
then
if we start at 6:30, so like probably 8 o'clock is your end time?
8 or 8:30 it generally reaches up till there.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so
initially, what
that's
we'll do
why
in the sense, initially Avinash and Bhaskaran and all like Firoz, what we'll do in the sense, see, initially I don't think like we will be going to take many hours. Okay. So initially we will go ahead with 1 hour, at least for 3 to 4 days, and then we can pick up the time. What do you say, Kumar?
yeah, but it's better if we start at 6 o'clock. I think I'm gonna try to manage 6 o'clock because I
yeah.
know because even if I take small session, they will have their questions and they go
Ha
on.
ha ha. Avinash, like
That
the
will
point is
always
here is,
Okay.
see, multiple like you people are joining in a multiple, right? See, if someone have questions for 5 to 10 minutes, so that half an hour or some 20 minutes that eat away in that way. So that's the reason, like,
Okay.
yeah. So like in my last batch also, it was like that. Around half an hour, 45 minutes, you only used to be questions from the
yeah.
guys.